I really feel like we're getting somewhere, though. The energy that we're creating in this room right now.
Uh-huh.
I feel God in this Chili's tonight. Welcome, everybody, to the movie overload of podcasts. This is the time that you come and sit down and tune in with your little radio dial to the thing, to hear to attune your ears to the things come out of our mouths right now.
I'm the radio static. That's my role.
Do that. Make the static while I'm doing it. So basically what we do is we talk about... Keep going. We gather around and we talk about the history of cinema, from A Trip to the Moon to Parasite, and everything in between that. Except that we only cover 100 of them, and also fuck Woody Allen.
Yeah, heck that guy. Also, you've successfully tuned to the channel, so there's no more static. Good job.
Good job.
I'm proud of you.
It took you a while to get there, but you did it.
God, the listener sucks at tuning their radio station.
My name
is
Turtwig.
Yes.
So
Turtwig.
Hi,
Guys,
Turtwig.
It's probably fine.
What's your name then, person who addressed me just now?
My name is sighing heavily into the microphone, and also Aiden, but mostly just the sighing heavily into the microphone.
This is going to get very complicated very fast.
I don't know.
Okay, Hunter, you get to pick only 2 names.
What?
2 word names.
I had like 5 in mind, but okay.
Barrel Rider.
I saw this video of a guy I follow on YouTube who just posts just dumb gameplay footage, but I find him very charming, and he had a video of using a bow in a game, and he was like, bow man, or something like he does in The Hobbit, and I was like, that's funny. anyway, I'm Hunter.
So that's Hunter. And who's that other one?
Anna.
Nice to meet you.
Except,
Welcome.
as everyone now calls me, Anna Chase.
Oh, yes.
Anna Chase.
Right.
Hi, Anna Chase.
You gotta chase that chase all through the chase.
It rhymes.
I'm so proud.
As a few poetry aficionados, like we are, college-educated poetry aficionados,
I know.
we can both collectively say that was artistry.
Was the poem.
Put Gabby Hanna to shame.
I was
Which I didn't
literally
think could be
about to
done.
say that. Dethrone the queen. Gabby Hanna, get out of here.
Yeah,
Aiden has
just replace
entered.
it with the very tired white college student equivalent of one of those product rappers who just raps Gucci with Gucci with Gucci with Gucci, or
that
Kodak
makes me think
with
of
Kodak,
an Eminem song.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang,
or one of those
Oh man, it's art.
rappers who just says the name of their vodka brand 12 times. It's that's the song. You're gonna pay money for that, right? It's totally not an ad.
No, I'm on Spotify. I don't pay you. Ha, nerds.
Okay, I have a Gabby Hanna poem to read everybody before we really get into the important stuff, because I think we need to get into the mindset of artistry and just just really, I think.
Wait, I need to center myself first.
Yes, it's
Wait.
worth centering yourself. Take a sip of tea. We're
Yeah,
here to
yeah.
gather in this space and discuss art, and I think that we all need to just be open to the energies flowing through this room. Okay, if I had $1 for every time someone saw me cry in public, I still couldn't buy happiness.
It's like if a squirrel took Xanax. That's what our energy is.
Oh,
That was so deep.
We're everywhere.
doesn't it
but
really
we're
make you think?
at
though?
a 0?
Yeah, I really feel like that's what I want to talk about at Poetry Club tonight, is how crying in public happens so often.
You couldn't even buy happiness, because it's so hard to buy, because you need so many dollars.
Or maybe we're thinking about this the wrong direction. You can't buy happiness. We all know that. The happiest people have no money, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, Hannah Gabby has never cried, or Gabby Hannah has never cried in public.
Grabby man.
Whoa.
Why are we just roasting this random person I've never heard of?
Because she's
What
the
is-
worst.
Well,
and her poetry's
good
bad.
grief.
And
She
she's
may-
also bad.
I don't know if she's.
So is most people's poetry.
It's not
Most
that she has
people's
bad
poetry is
poetry, it's
bad.
that she's also a bad person.
She's kind of notable.
I don't
for
think we're
being,
here to judge that.
like
I
weirdly
really am.
famous but bad at.
She's the
things.
person who did that monster thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
We're-
what if I'm the monster?
We're here because the hills
Julie
are
Andrews.
alive with the sound of music.
Or
Yeah,
as it sounded to me, the hills are alive with the sound of music.
yeah.
Because I watched it in 2.7 speed.
Because you don't appreciate art. Quick question though. You seem like you seem very like apathetic towards this movie. Every time it's come up. Why did you put it on the list?
Well, because it had to be there according to
Julie Andrews.
according to the metrics that I was
It's
using.
important.
It deserved its
notable.
space there. And to be honest, I wanted to enjoy it and watch it and be happy. I just
It's been a weird,
had a,
like
I
24
ran
hours.
into a time crunch. Okay.
Yes.
And so I had 3 hours to watch it before we were recording, and I thought,
Uh-huh.
fuck, I don't want to spend all 3 hours before we record the podcast doing that.
But the movie's only 2 hours and 55 minutes, and 5 minutes of that is intermission.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
But when you put it at 2.7 speed, you finish it in like an hour and 20 minutes.
It was kind of
So-
awesome. I was there for the whole thing. It was great.
And you get the Chipmunks
wanna try
rendition
it.
of the Sound of Music.
It was pretty. I mean,
It didn't pitch
knowing
it up.
it really
just
didn't
like sped
pitch
it. It just made it really fast.
It worked fine, and to be honest, I knew all the songs, so it was more to see the choreography and the way that things were shot, and how noticing when they were filming on location and how beautiful that was, and then also being like, man, somehow Christopher Plummer got hotter when he got like really old. Like he got old in like Beginners and in like Knives Out, and he was like kind of hot as like an old
Wait.
man. But then when you go back to what he looks like in Sound of Music, you're like, that's not no.
We're talking about the captain. Yeah, it's the same
Thank
guy.
you.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it now to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm...
We like Christopher Plummer. In this
Christopher
house.
Plummer
do
is
like
very
Christopher
good because
Plummer.
of Beginners,
Are-
which
I
is
mean,
a
I haven't
movie.
seen him in Beginners. I've seen him in Knives Out.
Imagine him in a Oscar-winning performance in a Mike Mills movie, because that's what that is. So it's perfect,
Wow.
and it makes
Hey,
us cry
though,
every time.
Point for the captain. Per our discussion last night about certain people that we find attractive, Adam
Yes.
Driver, Colin Firth,
Hell yeah.
they both have a certain demure, what's the word I used last night? I can't remember. They have like nice, like no lip smile, like that video you sent me.
Like the John Oliver bit that he did recently.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're just like so demure and so gentle and so sweet. And the captain has that smile when he is
does.
happy.
It's true. It's very true. I just couldn't buy how quickly he seemed to fall in love with her. Like it seemed like it happened in like the span of like, I don't know, 30 seconds and a lot of like very fast dialogue.
Well, I mean there are certain reasons why that might be, but it's also the fact that I don't buy that arc in the movie.
he was
really.
mad at her, and he was like, "You pack up your things," and then he walks into the house and is like, and then they're fine.
It's the classic.
No, he loved her from the start. Didn't you get that part?
Yeah.
He loved her from the first night.
Oh,
He
Yeah,
fell
when he
in love
came
with
in and he
her
was like,
when she sat on the pine cone.
he's just
As
The
he
silly
said,
pine cone.
when she sat on the pine cone and she
Yes.
was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have." What did she say?
Rickets? No, not rickets.
it was something like that.
Rheumatoid arthritis.
I can't remember what it was. Something
Yeah,
like-
Hemorrhoids.
I don't know.
Hemorrhoid.
No.
Hemorrhoid cream. Oh man. Now I'm thinking about Rocket Man. Remember when he thinks that he's eating the asteroid food out of the tube, but he accidentally is eating hemorrhoid cream, and it's like burning his mouth. He's like, "You gave me hemorrhoid cream."
I do not remember that.
That's
I definitely have seen that movie, but
that happens in that movie, and that's definitely related to this movie.
Okay, so
good to know.
this movie,
both on Disney Plus, I assume.
it is on Disney Plus
Yes.
because Disney is annoying. My family has a very old copy. I watched the first the copy of the disc that I watched the first time I saw this movie.
Nice.
Again,
I have it on VHS, so get off your horse.
Nice.
Nice.
Oof.
Support VHS
Sorry.
ownership.
You were telling a beautiful story, and you got blown out of the water by VHS.
I didn't.
But I was
I
still
wasn't
interested
telling
in
any
it.
beautiful
Yes.
stories. The main thing here is that this is a movie adaptation of a classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. The pair of musical writers that basically
everything.
defined the American musical movement. That they were the kings of golden age stage musicals in the
I mean,
United
they've
States.
written everything.
But Sondheim is fun when Adam Driver sings it.
Sondheim is the nerd's musical writer, which is like more or less true.
I'll take it.
It
Well, it was like Rodgers and Hammerstein, and then like they still bleed through forever, and then Sondheim comes in, and everyone's like, "Oh wow!"
like so.
And then now we have like Dave Malloy and Lin-Manuel Miranda and all those boys.
Sondheim and Lloyd Webber are basically like the new Hollywood movement
Yeah.
of the musical theater scene.
Yeah.
Does that make
makes
sense?
Yeah.
Like
As the certified theater nerd, I can confirm.
that's the vibe.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals myself, and I'm not. I went into this movie expecting to be pretty exasperated because I was in a production of The Sound of Music in high school, and most
Who
of
are
the
you?
I was Rolf.
Nice.
Yeah, it was weird. Even when I was in middle school, I still couldn't convincingly play young. Like, I don't have that youthful spirit, and I never had.
Yeah, you used to wear like suits to HSE, didn't you? Like you were pretty dressed up, I remember.
Yeah, I did that stuff. That's how I met the guy that we both wound up being in the band with, Vicente.
Yeah.
He was my dance instructor for that musical. He walked in like a frickin' leprechaun in a green plaid suit and like a newsboy cap.
Oh, man.
And it's like, hey, I'm going to teach you and this female actress who very much did not want to dance with me how to waltz. And it was a time, I guess.
It
That
really,
sounds like a time.
that guy is so interesting. Anyway,
He is bizarre.
great human.
But I think this is the first time I've gone into a musical after being a part of a production of it, gone into the film version, and haven't just been in pain through most of it, whether or not it's like triggering painful memories, as most theater-related things do. I'll just hear it, and I'm like, oh, that was that one time I said that really stupid thing.
Spoken like a
Yikes.
true theater major.
Yeah, no, I hate theater. I don't even know why I'm
Wait, are you a theater major?
I am a theater major. Yeah. No, it's weird, right?
Wow.
Yeah. I went into this, and it starts off with those just glorious shots of the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be mad at this movie because it's too beautiful. Like
It
you'd be
is
like,
really pretty.
I don't like that, and then you're like, but actually,
I feel like
It's
if I had
gorgeous.
to choose films shot in the Alps, trying to make the Alps look really big and expansive, I probably still go for that recent Malick movie. But like, it's not fair because those are using like IMAX cameras and it's Terrence Malick.
It's not quite as
Yeah,
colorful.
it's a different vibe though.
It's a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Well,
because this is like the Alps in the 30s with fancy clothes
This-
and champagne.
it's
True.
a really interesting piece of filmmaking. That's what really caught me.
It did stand out as that, even at almost triple speed.
Yeah.
It took its lumbering time, and it was
I thought it was
paced in this
interesting.
interesting, methodical way.
I haven't seen this movie in like 5 years, but I've seen it probably 30 times. Like, this movie is in my blood. Maybe not 30. We watch it often. But I noticed this time, the cinema, like, Alps aside, right? They kind of scored on location, but there's some really interesting things that they did with lighting. I don't know if y'all noticed, but there's sometimes where I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's so good. Like,
I can't
or
remember
like the
what
scene
that kind of lighting is called.
In the I Must Have Done Something good song, it ends with the best silhouette I think I've ever seen put on film. It just has a perfect rim light, and the center of each of the figures is perfectly black, and I'm not entirely sure how they got it.
Yeah.
Just like it's so perfect as like, what do you want a silhouette to look like, and you got it there, and it's just like the entire last verse of that song.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about the scene where the nun is singing that really obnoxious song that you always like go to get more popcorn during.
Climb every mountain. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was always super bored by that song as a kid. I mean, it's like very operatic, and I was like, this is lame. But also, it's very dark. Like, that scene is dark. But now watching it, I was like, whoa, that's a really cool, like, intentional decision where, like, the nun is in the shadow, and there's the window, and then you look at, like, Julie Andrews, and she's like, my brain went to say Frau Gesme, which is the name of my German teacher in high school.
Interesting.
She's not in this movie.
I would not think so.
I sure hope not.
That association's there.
Anyway, but just like, wow.
It was cool. I did like and it was very, very brightly colored. I'm not sure if that was like some kind of touch up on Disney Plus, but it was like intense at all times.
No, so the colors are really there. I'm working off of a DVD that was released in the 2000s.
I'm working off of VHS, so
Shining. Yeah, it's like the colors are really well defined. It has that look of the Pressburger and other director who did like the Red Shoes and Black Narcissus, like that like high Technicolor sort of vibe. It's not quite as clean and defined as those movies, but it's up there. The thing that's really interesting, at least to me, how this movie uses space, because most of the movie takes place in just immense spaces, but it feels very intimate. You go into the Abbey, and that first like, how do you solve a problem like Maria song, and it's this massive courtyard that's just, a lot of movies, when you are in a massive space, it can kind of like suck the energy out of the characters. It kind of overwhelms them and just like dwarfs them. But the way that it's staged, and the way that, specifically the staging and the blocking of the actors and the positioning of the camera, brings it in to a very personal focus throughout most of the scenes, except for selectively when Maria first enters Von Trapp house. You have shots deliberately just drowning her in the vastness of this space, overwhelming her. She was so confident. I've got confidence in me, and walks right in, and immediately is just kind of overcome. And she's still bright and positive, but like some of the most interesting low-key lighting, she goes into that ballroom that that captain's like, you're not allowed, you shouldn't be in here. But it has a very distinctive lighting look. It almost looked like a Victor Uris movie. He's made like 3 movies, and I don't think any of you have seen him. But
I shrug.
It's like this. It's a really like more dark, meditative sort of look, and it is really interesting there. But it's all of that. It's really interesting how all of that worked. And the thing that you really need to get right in musicals is the staging and the blocking of all of the scenes, because there are a fair number of musical movies, and there are a small number of musical movies that are actually really good that everyone tends to like.
I would say My Fair Lady is up there. This is totally a tangent.
Not a tangent. My Fair Lady is actually tied very closely to The Sound of Music, because
It's true.
Julie Andrews originated the role of the main gal in My Fair Lady.
What's her name? I can't
Yeah, I'm
remember.
forgetting too.
Yikes.
On Broadway, and then they kicked her off for the film adaptation because they wanted a bigger star, Audrey Hepburn. But who
Well,
didn't
they
have,
kind of
like,
worked
the
together
powers.
because she went to go do Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you were meaning her name is.
Are you guys vomiting on Audrey Hepburn's
No,
name?
that's her name.
That's before their time.
That
I
was
forgot.
before your guys'
Yeah.
time on the podcast, but we covered a movie with Audrey Hepburn, and we realized that the correct way to pronounce her name is. So
Why are you dissing Audrey Hepburn?
we're not.
I'm
You just have
about
listen
to
back. It's
throw
okay.
some
Sorry,
hands.
it's just a podcast. Dumb podcast.
No,
joke.
like okay, like
Dang.
Hannah's
Listen,
like
what
favorite
movie-
person on the planet is Audrey Hepburn.
What
and
movie
this is
was
where
that?
it
I already
originated.
forgot the name.
What?
I already forgot the name of what movie.
Roman
she was
Holiday.
in. Yeah.
The
Roman
other
Holiday.
movie you've seen with
Go listen
Audrey
to
Hepburn.
the
Go listen to the Roman Holiday episode
episode.
because it's important. It matters. And it's actually
Sorry,
kind of
sorry.
the funniest
Oh my
thing.
God.
I
on the
derailed the
podcast, IMO.
conversation. I'm sorry.
No, well, so My Fair Lady actually came out after the Sound of Music, but those two movies back to back, along with Mary Poppins around the same time, really was the like second wind of the Hollywood movie musical before it died.
Shitty Shitty Bang Bang and also Dr. Dolittle, if I may add.
Oh yeah, no, Dr. Dolittle really bombed. That was the first musical I saw, by the way. My dad got that for us on Netflix for some reason when they still had the discs.
I
With
owned
kids.
that on
Yeah.
VHS, and
And-
one time I loaned it to my friend and she lost it, and it was the biggest drama of the entire summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over
I got
Dr.
it back.
Dolittle. That's you gotta love that two-headed llama.
Dude,
Yeah.
the Push Me Pull You, I
Uh-huh.
love that guy. Also Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Weird
we can't
movie.
forget that one.
I like Singing in the Rain when they do the singing.
Yeah, well, that's a
Singing
different
along.
era, and I mean,
Yeah.
musicals after this point only really succeed in like, well, Fiddler on the Roof kind of hit big, but that is kind of the outlier where you just have really dark, depressing ones.
I'm sorry.
What?
Good grief! Don't do visual gags on a podcast.
We didn't.
How often do we need to?
We're trying to.
What?
But Anna's dying and it's very funny.
Anyway,
Anyway, I'm like,
it's fun.
And I'm muted. I was muted that whole time.
I'm sorry.
Oh, were
I
you
took a sip
talking?
of tea, and then I started laughing, and I couldn't swallow it, and so I had to spit it out into my cup.
Yeah,
Delicious.
happens sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I'm really sorry.
We're really getting somewhere, you know.
We're getting so many places.
Singing in the Rain is good.
Singing.
Something
Tell me
about,
the darkness.
that My Fair Lady starring.
Hills are alive with singing in the rain.
Okay, so I know that it isn't this type of podcast, but like a hunter
Yeah.
bring out the grain alcohol. We need to like
Yeah.
Is-
we need our
is-
stick
is
insects just
getting
a
somewhere.
bit
Yeah.
either a bit more conscious or a bit less conscious, but we're currently in a gray middle ground that's
we're in
just
a gray
we're in-
middle
that's
yeah.
just
ground.
like
For context, it's dead week for most of us college students in this
It's
podcast.
not a great time.
And it's
to
also
exist.
just not a great time.
It's not a good time to exist.
You have my sympathies. Me a year ago feels you.
Did you have other class? I only ever talked to you working on your final project.
Yeah, that was the main one that was stressing me out. The other stuff kind of stressed me out, but not nearly as much.
But it was cool. You were doing like crazy stuff.
It was fun.
He like made a
Wait,
whole
what was
game.
your degree?
It was it's called Technology, Arts and Media. It's like digital design,
Ooh.
media studies kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Fancy.
Sounds really good. Just wait for him to undersell it to you for like a solid year.
Yeah, it's been a year since I graduated, and I haven't really done anything with my life, so it's been pretty cool.
You have worked on this podcast.
I
which
have done this
technically is an application of your degree.
Kind of.
It is.
I guess. I
And
don't
something you
know.
could put on a resume. Just
I-
don't say the podcast. Just say you have podcasting experience.
I mean, if I ever make myself like a nice personal website, I'll probably put it on there somewhere.
This
Be like,
podcast
Look, I
on
did
there?
it. Yeah, like just as like a thing that I have done and worked on.
Just don't put this specific episode on.
I just don't think you want somebody to be like, oh, and they did a Sound of Music episode. I love that movie. What did they call Audrey Hepburn? Did they call her?
Turns out they're like the biggest Woody Allen stan of all
Oh
time.
shit, that happens.
Oh yeah.
I saw
No.
somebody online shit on people who don't like Woody Allen as being like
Weird.
dipshits, and I was
Mhm.
like, I'm sorry, but like
Mm.
also, yuck. So actually,
Yeah.
So actually, that's my case.
and I've been told I've been told simultaneously that I have very bad critical thinking, and that I have very good critical thinking. So
Hmm.
you're welcome to pick whichever if you agree with me or disagree with me. I have credibility in either direction.
You have very critical thinking.
Exactly.
My name's Broden Kelly. And I've fallen into this voice, and we have to cut this section out of the podcast now.
Just
That's
cut the
what
whole
you-
section.
That's what you think.
I gotta bloody cut this section out of the podcast.
Put it in and double
You
it.
listen to me. Don't get in the kiln.
Ooh, Anna's, what's your favorite
Don't
song?
get in the kiln.
What's your favorite?
What?
What's your favorite Sound of Music song?
My best
Go.
friend is in the kiln.
Oh.
What?
I don't know. Okay, so there's like different key points of my childhood that are each song.
Uh-huh.
Like I used to have this adorable like little like German dress that my mom got for me in Germany, so I'd always like wear that and then think about the Goat Herd song.
Yep.
I was like, dang, like I
The
wish I
most
had those puppets.
Life
But then
ruining
also,
puppet
like-
show ever put on film.
Honestly.
Dude.
Every time I went to a puppet show as a child, I'm like, the fuck is this shit? What? Where are the goats and the people drinking beer with mouths that like inflate? What?
It's simultaneously both very impressive and also very scary. Like
yeah,
they're very
but
scary
mostly
looking
impressive.
things, but it's mostly very cool.
Yeah. I don't know. But then also like 16 going on 17 just cuz like you got to sing it every time you're in a gazebo and there's benches. That just happens.
I feel like you do the entire routine. Like you must like do the spinning around and like jumping
pretty
up
much.
on each bench and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except usually I'm Rolf. So
oh.
or last time I did it with Alyssa, I was Rolf.
You are probably a better Rolf than the dude who is in this. He's the only performance I am legitimately a bit like.
He just has
Well-
literally nothing to him.
I
feel like
mean,
he's a blank
like,
slate.
how hard is it to be the 17 going on 18-year-old Nazi youth kid?
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, it's in theory like an interesting sort of fun character, but like I don't think you're supposed to want to punch him in the face during the 16 going on 17 number. Like, wow, this is definitely isn't going to work out. Definitely
Well,
not.
we all know that.
You watch it and you're like, I hope this doesn't work out.
Yeah, I just didn't like it.
But also, it was just weird that she's apparently 16 and she needs to like apparently listen to more responsible people, like somebody who's like 6 months
It's
older and a
tongue
male.
in cheek.
But
That's the joke.
And
but
also
no,
who
the
has joined the
uncomfortable
Hitler
bit
Youth.
is the fact that she's like aggressively not 16.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, that
True.
actress most definitely was
she,
not 16.
She had to have been older than
Like 20.
Rolf. I think we did the math. She was like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
Which is like 8 years older than which makes a difference anyway. But she had to have been older than he
Yeah.
was, and
But
so
she's
it
beautiful.
didn't. She's so beautiful, and she
And
gave a
her
really good
eyes?
performance. It's just weird because they couldn't find a way to like sell the fact that she was 16
Yeah.
and that's not a big deal, obviously.
No, they
Also,
sold it.
if my children
She said
aren't
she was 16.
the Von Trapp children, I'm not having kids.
not
Like, give
having-
me a Gretel, please.
That's fair.
Oh,
She's
Gretel's
so
fair.
cute.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna put my foot down after watching this movie. I'm not having kids.
Because they'll never be as cute as Gretel.
I'm not gonna reveal my reasons. I'm not
Okay.
having kids because of
That's
this
valid.
movie.
That's valid. We'll draw a line in the sand in this podcast. Like, today was the day.
This is the day that I really decided I'm not having kids.
I'm sorry.
And if you want to know the reason, just watch Sound of Music. Okay, but also, like, why was it that, like, the other lady seemed like mostly okay? She just wasn't very good with children, and that's, like, damning.
No,
Like, she
that
seemed
wasn't
okay.
it.
That wasn't
That wasn't it.
That wasn't the damning. The thing that wasn't okay is that neither of them were really all that into the relationship. They didn't have feelings for each other, and they were just doing it because Max wanted them to hook up. He basically was playing matchmaker
Yeah.
because they were like,
I just feel like she
Rich.
Money.
seemed nice.
Yeah.
I felt like
Just
maybe
because she wasn't good with kids.
I felt like she was into him at least a little.
she seemed like she kind of
legitimately,
liked him.
but like he wasn't into her. But also,
And
there
I
were
think she
definitely,
had a
like,
good point.
Yeah.
mhm.
I think that she has, like, I think it's an interesting dynamic, but I also don't feel like she gets a lot of sympathy on screen.
she doesn't.
But I feel sympathy for her.
But it's an interesting character because she does spend a substantial amount of her screen time just kind of trying to like match up Maria and the captain.
Yeah.
No, she gaslights Maria until she leaves so that she can score the captain.
I don't think that's definitely not how I read that scene.
She
I think-
comes
I think you're
downstairs and
gaslighting
she's like,
yourself.
Max,
To make of it.
give me some champagne because I just scored the man.
I
Distinctly don't remember that scene, but that's
I think
interesting.
that you're like, I think you're making it out to. I think you're taking my favorite character here, and you're like putting a lot on her that like I don't think that she was meaning, and I feel like.
Do I need
feel
to
like
make an official apology?
Maybe you need to like evaluate your
you
own
gonna
like
make a-
prejudices.
An essay statement defense of why.
Do
She's
I,
the
do I
real
need
hero.
to believe the
One,
podcast?
she's really cool, and
she does have
two,
great outfits.
She has great outfits, and 3, when she was trying to play with the kids, and she was like very honestly trying to play with the kids, but was just like, I don't know how to do this.
Uh-huh.
I felt that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then for another bit, I think when she's at the end, she's like, "Nah, I'm gonna go." I feel like that was a good bit, and I feel like
Yeah, it was a good
she's
bit.
good, and I like her.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's weird that I feel like in a musical like a musical she would have some like later role that would be all kind of happy and fun.
You
know what I mean?
what musicals
Like
are you
she'd be
thinking?
double cast.
Because this is a musical
Like
musical
I think she
musical.
would do something else. Like she would
What?
she would continue to exist on screen.
Okay, no.
She would find another person or she would
No.
something.
No,
I
so
wanted
No.
like something good to happen like objectively for
She
her.
marries Max. Let's say
Here's
that
the
happens.
thing.
That sucks.
Here's the thing with
No.
Oh,
this musical in particular, there's no room for her to do that because essentially the
movie's 3 hours long.
This musical has
There's
a
a lot
twist.
of
2
room
hours
for
and
a lot of
50
things to
minutes.
happen.
No, so she leaves. Right afterwards, the captain and Maria have their I should have done something, I must have done something good number. Then they get married, and that's like kind of the end of the musical. Then it makes a hard right turn into suddenly a different tangentially related movie about
It's like we have to finish
escaping
the Von Trapp story.
Nazi
Right.
Austria. Yeah,
But the thing is, it's just for a movie that very obviously is stealing so much from Enchanted, they didn't steal the bit where the other lady ends up finding a nice man that works for her.
oh, true.
that's not drawn from musicals. That's drawn from like Disney movies and fairy tales.
Maria
I'm
didn't have a
saying.
fake out love interest.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's true.
would've-
Who
she
would have
should have had a
replaced
fake
her?
out love interest.
Except, well, no, but we
the
were
nunnery.
also theorizing.
Oh, that's the nunnery is the fake out love
Ah,
interest, and what
that's
should have
true,
happened is she
actually.
should have gone to the nunnery afterwards and like
Because
found
Baroness
solace.
Schrader is always
Love
like,
interest
"You'll
is
make a
God.
great nun."
Love interest is God.
She's like, I think I want to just
She, her,
exclusively
his.
fuck God for the rest of my life, and the mother superior is like, nah, it's okay. Maybe God wants you to get with Whistle Man,
Yeah. Whistle boy.
Whistle Man?
Whistle McMahon.
Captain
like,
Von Trapp, the guy
okay.
who just
Oh.
whistles.
Are we going
Georg?
to really
Georg.
look
Yes,
over the
Georg.
fact?
Forgot about that.
Whistle
Georg.
boy, you know?
It's all in. It's
If
in the text.
I married
right.
him, I would only ever call him Captain. I would never call him Georg.
Look,
Georg.
see, our
Yeah,
theories are
see,
right.
that's the thing.
I'm right.
We needed an alternate version of the story where Maria and the Baroness are the actual couple of the movie.
It would have been really good.
And then
Christopher Plummer could play another amazing gay man.
yes, and he
With
can-
Max.
Maybe he can be with Max. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we were
the-
thinking when we were watching
That's
it.
the alternate ending. That.
But also, are we going to
Isn't
overlook the
Max's
fact
brother?
that she blatantly...
I don't know.
I don't care.
Maybe. Oh
The children call him
Me-
Uncle Max,
shoot!
which might
I
just
don't-
be
It's
like
a musical.
familiar term.
Okay.
Lots of
You don't
things
have to
happen in
really
musicals.
Throw in
overthink
incest to
everything.
make
It's
our,
just a
like,
musical.
lesbian ships work. You just gotta throw that incest in there.
God.
That's the only way to make the ship work.
It's the only way to make the ship work.
You know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But we are going to look over the fact that Julie Andrews is blatantly ripping off Amy Adams in Enchanted by making outfits out of curtains, right? Like
I
we're just
know, it's
completely
ridiculous.
ignoring that.
Someone should apologize.
I honestly feel like Amy Adams deserves like a free Oscar, just like as compensation.
Or a
hate
free
this bit
dress.
So much.
I mean, maybe she
Or-
deserves that
yeah.
anyway.
This is my
She does
least
anyway.
favorite bit.
She deserved it for Arrival, and for honestly, like best supporting actress in Her, because that
I love
performance
Amy
speaks to me.
Adams.
She's really good.
When in Catch Me If You Can, I always just cry when she's Deborah, and I'm like, you're too pure, and I love you so
Deborah.
much.
No, you made me think about Baby Driver because of you said Deborah, and I thought about
I'm pretty sure that's her name.
you
in
know
Catch
that
Me If
song
You
by
Can.
Trex, Deborah. That's- oh man, I was really
Now I want to
hoping.
watch Baby Driver
Oh,
again.
yeah, it's a good movie.
good.
You mean T-Rex? Okay, it's fine. There's so much that you have to cut out of this podcast, Hunter. Cut out all of it.
Yeah, no, he has to keep it all in because
Do you mind
we're
cutting out the
starving
bits where I'm
content.
talking?
We're starving for content. Yeah, you should
We're all
leave in
starving for
yeah.
content.
We're actually, I'm gonna do the opposite of that, and we're gonna get Movie Overload Turtwig edition, and it's
Nice.
only the things that you say. We cut out. All
I'm
of
gonna
us, and
I'm
it's-
gonna basically improvise a stand-up routine every week from now on.
Yeah,
That's good.
There you
That's
go.
gonna be our Patreon content.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that
Shout
Patreon
out-
content we
shout out
keep
to
teasing
High
but
Silas.
never actually make.
Go on to High Silas,
I-
the YouTube channel. See our most beloved friend.
Yes, thank you.
Patreon.com/us.
Thank you for giving us each like 30 cents.
I'm not gonna tell anyone about this podcast ever
I
again.
never. I
No.
can't. I thought about it.
No.
I've mentioned to people like at college, at uni, that I happen to do a movie podcast talking about
Podcast.
the classical films.
Talking about the classical films.
and they're always like, "That sounds fantastic," and I agree. And then I don't tell them more information about it because
Yeah.
I don't
I
want
just tell
them
them
to
to
hear me swear over the top of like very interesting philosophical conversations around like theology. You know what I mean? Like it's just we're talking about very important things. We're talking about Bergman and I'm over here being like, but fuck.
But no, my least favorite part of The Sound of Music is the part where after they get married, suddenly Maria's story ends and it suddenly just becomes about the captain.
And she's
does
like, I
jack
belong
shit for
to
the rest
him
of the
now.
mo-
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
movie.
Julie.
It feels like they only half care.
I think the movie. So
I think the movie's really made, and I don't know if the play is like as solid as the filmmaking. Maybe
That's why you can never do this show again.
I think that this movie actually killed the future theatrical productions of this. The only theatrical production of The Sound of Music that I've ever wanted to see is the weird one that they tried to do a revival of, where everything was like black and gold and looked like a Gucci handbag. and it was just so out there and
I'm not talking about an actress.
I
gross
want-
looking.
I want Terrence Malick to direct a musical.
Well, and the Carrie,
Bad.
it would be terrible. Admit it.
That's why I want to see it, and I want him to do specifically this movie.
So I need to leave this meeting now.
Oh,
Bye.
frick.
I know you do hate the Carrie Underwood live version of it too, because everyone does.
Ooh, it
I
does
don't know
not sound
anyone
like it
who
would be
loves that.
good.
I remember that. I didn't watch it. But I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it
about
either. I just know that it's terrible.
Well,
I've
like
seen
the
some
live
pictures of it.
performances of the.
That was really weird when they were doing those. Wasn't there like a Peter Pan one or something?
Yep, with Christopher
And
Walken
Grease.
as Captain Hook.
Okay.
Okay, that's good actually.
No, don't. He is fully asleep during the entirety of that
Oh, of
play.
course he
Sad.
is. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
My favorite thing ever is like legends just absolutely phoning in performances and people celebrating them like they're good anyway. It's so good. Like anything Harrison Ford has done in however many years, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh."
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that.
So,
Oh, I realized
hi Anna.
that- oh.
Bye Anna. I'm
What
so
were you
sorry.
were
Oh,
you
wait.
saying you didn't actually have to go. You were
Not for, like,
joking.
No,
right?
I
30
have
more
like 20
minutes, right?
minutes.
Okay.
You have 20 minutes?
neat.
She lied
I don't
to
know
you.
what time is.
I realized that we're gonna watch all our Harrison Ford movies in a row.
Oh,
both
really?
Star Wars and Blade Runner are all right next to each other
Oh,
on our list,
nice.
so we're just gonna get like 3
Harrison.
in a row.
That makes Harrison Ford probably the number one boy on the pod.
Maybe.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it's a lot.
he is the pod daddy.
He
It's gonna get
Whoa.
replaced.
You finally
That-
you finally said it.
I don't know.
That reminds me.
I said it
I saw
before
something,
when
but
I
you s-
nominated pod daddy.
I saw
Oh,
something on
but
Twitter.
yeah, I felt more feelingly.
I saw something on Twitter a little bit ago that said that something happened with Citizen Kane on Rotten Tomatoes, so it doesn't have a perfect score anymore, and that means Paddington 2 is now the highest rated movie on Rotten
Really?
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
What?
And I'm gonna say good, actually.
I have
Wow.
kind of a small grudge against Paddington. Never seen the movie, but every time I try and tell my friends that I want to watch Patterson, they're like, "I love that movie." And I'm like, "You do?"
I mean,
They're
And
both
they're like,
like,
"Yeah,
they're
the
both
one
great.
with the
They're
bear."
both
And I'm like,
equally
"No, the
sweet
one with
and
the
both
bus driver
have
that will make
equal
you
claim.
cry."
They both have
Yeah.
equal claim to best movie
They're
of all
really-
time. Like,
Okay, good
I
to
say
know.
that
They're really
honestly.
sweet.
I do love them.
As with Jarmusch as my favorite director, I can say that Paddington 2 is about as good as Patterson.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paddington 2 is ridiculous.
Sorry.
But also the reason why Paddington 2 is as good as it is because it takes a heck of a lot from Charlie Chaplin, and we will get there.
I'm really excited to watch it after like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
Oh,
a
is that
while.
happening when I'm gonna be
mean,
gone?
so Paddington 2 is like
maybe,
late 10s,
actually.
It's like
though.
the very end. It's like one of the last.
It's one of the
few.
last movies we covered.
I know.
I think
We can watch it before then, though. That's okay.
you can't. I am totally part of that group on Twitter of just trying to get people to watch Paddington. That's half of the existence on Twitter. So don't follow
Anyway,
me on
sorry,
Twitter.
I derailed the conversation again because it was slightly Citizen.
This
Kane related.
conversation doesn't have
I
rails.
It doesn't have
No, it really
rails.
doesn't.
This
It's
is
like-
like we're flying cars,
a
like in Blade
pinball
Runner.
machine.
But Citizen Kane is the best movie ever made. Paddington 2 is the best
Uh,
movie ever made.
There can
And
only
Patterson
be one.
is the best movie ever made. And also The Wind
Yeah.
Rises.
Ooh.
So
But what about
Intriguing.
20th Century Women?
20th Century Woman is not the best movie ever made. It's just absolutely delightful and amazing and breaks my soul and changes my life. And
Why do we
breaks my
need a best movie ever made?
We
Why
do.
can't we just accept the fact
No.
that there is no singular cinema? There are
I
a
listed
plurality of
4
cinemas.
movies that are the best movie ever
And-
made.
Isn't
I
that
think
like
that's
the whole point of this
plurality.
podcast?
I think-
is like other countries are allowed to make movies too.
Exactly. And I feel like I mentioned several countries in that. I mentioned
Citizen Kane
England,
is the best Citizen Kane ever made. I don't think
America,
we can extend it beyond that.
America again.
Wait a second.
Wait.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
I'm gonna also throw in Tokyo Story as the best movie ever made, so that way
Yeah.
a little bit.
That
more
way you get
diversity.
Japan in there.
See, that's the problem, though. Whenever you sell any movie as the best movie ever
Parasite
made,
is the
people-
best movie.
people will go into that movie and not enjoy it as much as they would have
It's
otherwise.
always that's 100%
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Every time, except for when I went into Citizen Kane, and then I came out being like, "Wow." But maybe that's because everybody was like, "Actually, Citizen Kane's the best movie ever made. And that's why it's shit." And maybe that's why I liked it.
This is
Stand up for
kind
the
of
underdog.
this is kind of reminding me of a dumb Twitter conversation I saw the other day, where someone was like, "Oh, movie," and then some other like stuck up asshole film bro was like, you gave the SpongeBob movie 5 stars, so like maybe your opinions aren't as good as you think they are." And he was like,
God.
"Bro, it's just a movie." But he was very much one of these guys that's like, "Our objective film criticism," and the dude was just
Objective
the
film
original
criticism.
poster was just like, "Fuck, I just like the movie." It was great because then the comments were like filled with people who were defending the SpongeBob movie, and I was like, "Yes, you're right.
It's
I
very
also
good.
gave it 5
It's
stars
You're
because I
right.
like it."
And you know, that's why I can give the K-On! Movie
Yeah,
5 stars and say that that's the best movie ever made. Because the more times they say something's the best movie ever made, the less value that has.
Yeah.
Which means that you like take away the value from movies that are worth being the best movie ever made, like Patterson, and it just like makes the whole label irrelevant.
No, it doesn't.
Dang.
It doesn't.
Oh,
It makes
you're
the
right,
label
it doesn't.
irrelevant, but it doesn't
It makes
decrease
it-
the value of
It makes movies more
Patterson.
meaningful. Yeah.
Well, and it's a very different. So like
It makes
movies
them
like
personal.
Patterson or like Cleo from 5 to 7 are poetic films.
Yeah.
Like they're films as poetry, whereas like Citizen Kane is a film,
film as
a like
film.
classic novel.
Yeah, it's like it's not even almost, it's kind of noir, it's kind of not. And it's,
This is like Moby Dick.
no, it's
No,
not
so-
slow and it's not boring.
It's not that sort of. It's like 20th century novels, like the ones where you're like, yeah, no, those are boring, right? And then you're like, wait, most writers in the 20th century were on a lot of drugs. They you can read like Kurt Vonnegut and James Joyce and Ernest Hemingway back to back and be like, I don't know what literature is anymore. I apparently being locked in space jail with Marilyn Monroe by toilet plunger aliens is on the same level as a man sitting in the ocean trying to catch a fish. This is art. Okay.
That's the fun thing, is I feel like that movie, if you give it the chance that it deserves and aren't thinking about best movie ever as in what do I think movies are and just like what is this what does this thing have to offer, it just makes you question like what film can be, because it stands out from what a lot of things are, even though a lot of things are influenced by it. It still is just a different thing. And it's whack. And Mank couldn't match, like Mank was specifically trying to do the Citizen Kane look, and it didn't get close. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who likes Citizen Kane. It just like, it got some of the colors right, and you got some things here and there and some fun details, and the set design was right and cool, but they couldn't match the just like random, like unbridled, just wild creativity in every little inch of screen. You know what I mean? Like it's just something different, and it's electric, and it's
Cool.
good. And that's my thought.
On a side note, I've been watching Obayashi movies recently.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch those.
Yeah, I legitimately think you might hate them, but they're
Oh,
really
I bet.
cool.
I do not expect for it to be my thing.
They are like, oh my goodness, so gonzo and meta.
Gonna be weird.
Yeah, you don't have Hausu on this list for some reason.
I didn't because I couldn't. Because I didn't because I put this movie on the list. How about that? Now you guys have to deal with that one.
Yeah.
Wait, Hausu? I think that was a movie that Tim watched with the movie club that I
Probably.
like kind of wasn't invited to because everyone knew I would hate it.
It's a very specific movie. So it's
Is it kind of like a Racerhead in that it like makes you want to die?
no. So it has the energy and kind of like vibe of a like psychedelic cartoon in live action. It just absolute insanity, and also a metaphor for the horrors of nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, this was the movie night that I wasn't invited to. Yeah, that's the
I
one.
honestly wouldn't rule it out. You just need to get yourself in like the right headspace for it. It has like, it's violent, but is cartoonier than Evil Dead 2. It has like no blood.
Bold of you to assume I've seen Evil Dead 2.
You will get there.
You will
it's on the
see
list.
Evil Dead 2.
I don't know why it's on the list. I don't talk to
Why
me
are we
about
watching
the list.
Evil Dead 2 if we're not even watching Evil Dead 1?
Because
Well, okay.
there's a
There's
good reason.
they're
That is a
very
good
different
point.
movies.
I made there's a good reason
Okay.
to use two.
That and
I've been talked down off my ledge.
Apparently,
immediately.
what I
Good.
understand
It's a
is
good
that
question.
the beginning of Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead 1,
Yes.
and then it goes into different
Yeah.
things.
I have
Uh,
seen Evil Dead 1, and I don't think it's worth putting on the list.
But Evil Dead 2 gets
It's fine.
a lot of attention.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is our representation of independent horror filmmaking. It's in the same vein as Evil Dead, although Evil Dead was more of the video nasties that came after. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like first wave. Anyway, Houseu has nonsense, just a bunch of nonsense. Honestly, you might dig it. It's one of those movies it's impossible to actually be able to guess how someone's going to react to it.
Could be.
I don't like it nearly as much as almost anyone I know, but I really respect it. Anyhow,
What are we talking about?
you
Sound
wait,
of
little
Music
girl, on
is-
an empty stage.
Yeah.
For fate to turn the light on. Your life, little girl, is an empty page that men will try to write on.
Okay, I felt like there was a bit where somebody was supposed to come in, and I was like, "You're looking at me like I'm gonna do it, and I don't know it."
I
I'll
came in at the
scream.
right
And
spot.
your rhythm would be
You
entirely
are
off if you
16
did.
going on
Thanks.
17.
I'm
No, because you
almost
started-
20.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's why I was making that joke.
Gentlemen, dandies, drinkers of brandy.
Ooh, nice.
Basically-
Baby,
Nice
you're
brain.
on the
Basically,
green.
I think the conclusion of this is that we probably thought things about this.
It's
We
hard to
didn't
think
know
things about a
things.
movie that you've watched a bajillion times since you were 2.
Basically, the point of this is that we needed an off week. I think it's dead week. We're not real
Can I have
people.
a mental health break?
Mental health is important. This is our mental health awareness podcast. Guys, get yourself on either anti-anxiety medications or just find yourself a real good counselor that's somehow covered by insurance, because
Oh,
apparently that's
please.
possible for some people
God.
to
What?
find.
That's crazy.
I don't know what insurance would be like if it actually, ever applied to anything that you need in your life. I've never experienced that.
I was trying to explain to a girl in my class why it's actually hard to get counseling because of insurance, and she was like, "What?"
It's like, what are you even talking
This was in my
about?
counseling theories class.
And she didn't. What?
Yeah, I also was trying to explain to her last night like what emotional abuse was for marriage counseling, and she was like, "Wow." I was like,
Is she like?
"This is the
training to
first
be a
time you've heard
counselor?
about emotional abuse?"
Ooh.
And she's gonna. Okay.
She's not a psych major.
Oh, okay,
She's like
that's
an
what I-
exercise science
okay.
major. or
Okay, that's fine then, because I was
Yeah.
like, there are two kinds of psych majors. There's the kind that are like, I'm gonna fix myself,
something. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
there's the kind that's like, I actually kind of give a shit and maybe have skills at this shit.
Maybe so.
And I've now ran into several examples of both in my life.
Can I please be the latter?
You're whatever the good one is. I can't
Yeah,
remember
the
the
latter.
order in which I spoke. I'm too tired for that.
We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna make
We're
it.
gonna be all right.
It's gonna be okay. It's
Ba-da,
gonna be
ba-da,
all
ba-
right. What is that from?
It's from The Sound of Music.
No,
Oh,
it's definitely not.
okay.
It's like from some weird thing I watched as a kid
Nice.
that I'm really uncomfortable because I don't know what it is, and it was not good. Whatever it was.
The ending in this movie kicks ass, though. Like in that "How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria" song. Like I was
Dude.
noticing, so it had actually a rhythm to the edit where they'd cut to a two-shot, and so when they're describing the characteristics of Maria, she's a devil, she's an angel, she's a child. In the two before that, so it would do a 2-shot, and 2 different people would say something. Then it'd cut to a 1-shot of one person saying one line, a 1-shot of another person saying one line, and then a group mid-wide that pulls back as the Mother Superior comes out. And it had like that very distinctive pacing. And also, I have a rant. So have you ever heard anyone get really angry when a movie has like a conversation that takes place over a montage where like people are talking and then they're like going between places?
No.
And then
I get
like,
the opposite of mad. I love that.
That's so
No,
fun.
It fucking
if
rocks.
you do it right.
It's great. It's a great use of cinema. I have heard film nitpickers pick that thing apart. Well, in the "I Have Confidence in Me" song, it struck me this watch. So I absolutely loved this watch. It took me completely by surprise. That entire song is done over a montage, and the singing is continuous, whereas the visuals aren't. And I think that's part of the reason why this movie actually works so well. It completely runs with the unreality, that disconnection where, people in real life don't just go around and break into song.
Yeah.
So it heightens the filmic elements of just the extra natural within the world of Sound of Music.
Yes.
So that it feels more at home. Because it would be a bit weird for someone to just be singing out the window on the bus, but if you just cut to that and it comes from the previous line when she's like walking down a street, it automatically, the editing itself and the way that the film is moving is telling you this isn't happening in a strict linear reality.
I think when I was looking at a few things about the movie online, I saw that they were pointing that out also in the Do Re Mi song, I think.
Yep.
That's also taking place over multiple different places and times.
And it works. That's probably my favorite
So
sequence in
good.
the movie, actually.
Yeah.
Like the way that
It's
it
great.
bounces around. And it's so visually appealing.
When
Everything.
they're on their bikes.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
And it's so fluffy, and it's one of the 4 points in the movie where they do this really cool effect that like it looks like the characters like burst into stardust. Like it gets that like twinkle eye lighting. So
Yeah.
the first time they're like running along the brook and it's all kind of like bloomed, like the light and the color are bloomed out, and that happens again right after the Captain and Maria dance, and then it happens
Yes,
in the
yes.
gazebo when they're doing somewhere in my youth or childhood I must have done something good.
I somehow
It, like, does
picked up
that
on all of
Maria.
those beats, even at 2.7 speed, and enjoyed them.
Dang, that's incredible.
So,
It's great, and it's a great film choice.
is it a testament to the
I
film
wanna
choice,
know
or
how
is
they
it a testament
did
to
it?
my ability to watch film
because
fast?
I forgot what cameras do and how you would do that because I want to do that all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was curious. That's why I was making mention of those times to Hunter, in hopes that when we'd get to the podcast, it would be brought up and you would be able to explain to me how that was lit.
Because so it's not the lighting; it's in the camera settings itself. Well, they probably affected the lighting somewhat too. The best I can gauge is it might have been like it's somewhat overexposed, and that's either just I guess
Aperture?
that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure if they just used like an actual faster film stock. Like it might have been an effect using a different type of film stock that they were using, like a faster film stock that just absorbed a bit more light and had a different color thing. It might have been a lens difference. They might have had a specific lens, and it might be a combination of these things.
It's the kind of thing that Wes Anderson likes to do, where it's like you specifically notice that they have like changed something about the way that something is filmed for like exactly a shot or two.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff where it's just very obviously trying to let you know this is a film, and it's being obvious about its enhancements. I think
Which
it's
is
cool.
bit of a tangent. Fuck, I'm doing tangents now. I spent a good 5 hours today watching Agnes Varda short films, and Agnes Varda does that with documentary filmmaking, and it is just the peach.
That's so cool.
It is so delightful, because all of her films are feel a bit like documentaries. Even she does a few like actual documentary things, but she is like the quintessential like very poetic filmmaker, where it's very self-aware of the medium and using it to its advantage to create just these intimate, just highly striking scenes. And she actually started as a photographer and apparently had very little like knowledge of film going into making her first few films. And it really shows she can frame shot
I just
so
love
well.
Agnes
Like,
Varda.
oh my!
So good.
When I'm an old lady, I'm gonna copy her haircut.
Yeah.
Just copy
You
her
must.
everything. She was bomb.
Yeah. Let's all just agree to be Agnes Vardas. We'll just all be Agnes Varda.
Yeah.
Like that episode of SpongeBob when everybody's Squidward. We'll all be Agnes Varda.
Okay, that sounds good.
I wouldn't sell to you if you were the last Agnes Varda on the planet. Whoa. Okay, and then also we're gonna probably head out because thanks for listening.
Yeah.
That's my best.
This
That's my
was the
best
podcast.
outro. Thanks for
podcast
listening.
happened.
MovieOverloadPod.com's got
That's
the
it.
links to all of our socials, even the ones that aren't very active.
Yeah.
And thanks to
Oh,
our
I need to do
patron
that.
against Silas.
All of them.
Hell yeah! And we're on YouTube and we're on other things. And my name is Ben Tartwig, and you've listened to a bunch of random fuckery. and as we tend to say at the end of the thing,
Wait.
you did.
Fuck.
As we say at the end of the thing, because there's always a time in which there's a quote, and every single time the
Is
same person
there-
does it, and so they
Oh.
always know that they have that to look forward to.
I wrote a
Definitely
few
forget.
in my letterboxd review, so I can
Oh,
just
we
steal
don't.
one of those.
Hooray! So, as we say at the end
yeah.
here, at every episode of the Movie Over the podcast.
There are so many things I think I should know, but I don't. She said that, and I was like, "Wow, me too. So profound. Wow." It's not really,
Well done.
but it just, I'm just like, wow. It's not very indicative of the movie.
Pod has been
Oh
casted.
well.
but it means things.
Oh well, I cheated.
Thanks. Man, I
Bye.
imagine somehow us getting enough attention that somebody makes a letterbox list of all of the movies and includes the quote that you use at the end.
Yeah, gross.
so cute.
Why would anyone do
Oh,
that?
that would
That's
suck.
not even fun.
Yeah, you could
It
do that
wouldn't-
though with the account that we have. We have an
could, I'm
account for the
too lazy.
podcast.
I'm too lazy. We do have a letterbox account for the podcast.
I would actually like to rebuff that. You are not too lazy for that. You have done more in-depth work on Letterboxd specifically than that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Also, it would be really handy if the list
I'll
was
do
on
it
our
later.
letterbox page, so I could
Yeah,
find it
no,
easier.
wouldn't that make sense?
If I what now?
If you put the list of the movies that we're covering on the podcast on the
I would have
Letterboxd
to.
page for
Oh
the
wait,
pod-
no, I did pay for Pro, so I guess I can't.
you can just
duplicate
clone
Yeah, you
it.
should be
Yeah,
able
I'll
to
just
clone
clone
it.
it. Okay, yeah. I
Totally.
was like, I didn't want to make it all over again, but I guess I will just clone it
It should
because
be
there
easy.
is a link on our website that goes to the list. It just happens to
You
be
can
tied to
clone
my
it and
account.
then
It's
put my
also the
codes in.
hidden, and also I don't know if anyone uses our website to find it because it's
we
not
I
a
don't
gr-
know.
we tend to.
I
mention
definitely
it.
have one time.
See,
a website.
Because I'm too much of an old lady to work the
it's also
Letterboxd
like
app.
immediately in the top of my bio, so it's not that hard to
Me
find.
too.
And Hunter's bio. So like, really, when we're all thinking about it, maybe you're the only one
Oh, well.
complaining.
No, I'm complaining.
No.
Okay, maybe you
It's
guys
fine.
are the
It's
only
fine.
ones complaining.
It's fine.
So did you ever think about that?
No, okay,
No.
I'm gonna leave this
Catch
meeting
me
now.
outside. How
Get
about
outta
that?
here.
Yo, yo,
Bye.
yo.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.